One of the most prevalent things today in our society, as well as in our everyday lives, is the internet. With this being said, it is extremely important to be digitally literate in our day and age. So, you might be wondering, what exactly does the term digital literacy mean?
As defined by teachthought.org, digital literacy is defined by 4 key points: comprehension, interdependence, which basically means how one form of media connects with another, social factors, and curation, which means being able to understand the value of information and keep it in such a way that it is useful and accessible for the long term.
This brings me to my next point of identifying reliable versus unreliable sources.
The article I just cited, teachthought.org, is a reliable and credible website because for one, it's .org, meaning it's an organization, but for two, it cites a reliable author, which was the founder of the organization, and doesn't include any clickbaity titles or apparent biases.
The internet is a constant, never-ending pool of information, making it sometimes difficult to navigate. It's full of fake news, clickbait, and false information all around. So, how do we prepare future generations to use it correctly?
The answer is through education. When you're at the ripe ages of 10 to 13 or 14, your mind is highly impressionable. When I think back to myself at that age, I tended to believe anything I was told or anything I read. I wasn't quite in the mindset of questioning something's legitimacy yet, nor is any other kid at that age. Preteens and teens tend to obtain false information and process it as facts very quickly. As quoted from Common Sense Media, today's fake online news sources so closely mimic real news that it's challenging even for adults to discern what's real and what's fake. Also, kids have much less experience in evaluating news sources, so certain words or images that might immediately tell an adult that something is fake or biased might not have the same effect on kids.
Through this quote, you can see that it's sometimes difficult even for adults to figure out what's real and what's fake on the internet, making it almost impossible for a child to do so. This just proves my point that we have to do something about it. Educating kids on the internet at a young age will only benefit them in the long run.
This is shown by a study conducted by the University of Connecticut. A professor took a select number of 7th graders and decided to test their ability to identify a reliable or an unreliable source. They were given an article titled Pacific Northwest Tree Octopus, which was obviously very fake. However, the kids didn't agree. According to Live Science, 87.5% of the 7th grade subjects judged the webpage to be reliable, and more than half of them went as far as call it very reliable. But they found that the small percentage of 7th graders who called the source unreliable or fake had just participated in a lesson in which it taught them to be suspicious and question the information online.
This specific study shows that if kids are educated regarding the internet, that they'll be able to tell which sources are real and which ones are not. The current education system is falling behind when it comes to media.
Some of our current educators, more so in high school and middle school, are still trying to hang on to traditional classrooms in which all electronic devices are put away and your textbooks are out. However, that isn't the future. Some ways to implement technology and the internet into classrooms according to the Association for Middle Level Education are: 1. Questioning how students currently receive news and validate their sources. 2. Provide examples of real news, satire, and fake news for students to compare and differentiate between. 3. Discuss the role social media plays in the spreading of false information. And 4. Finally, to stress the importance of source verification. Taking the time to thoroughly teach students all these things would greatly influence how they use the internet academically and socially. It would give them the knowledge and the information to successfully conduct research and know what's credible and what is not. Furthermore, these skills would prevent students from believing unreliable sources, so they wouldn't run around spreading false information, only making the big problem worse. Going along with the idea of education, the next video on this channel will discuss the difference between traditional learning and interest-based learning and the roles of social media.
In conclusion, it is very apparent that in our world today, digital literacy is pivotal, and it is my personal belief that educating the youth early on in their academic careers and providing them with the proper skills regarding the internet will only ensure their success in the future inside and also outside the classroom.